Back with another episode of Local Roots on this first day of spring. Good morning. I'm Todd Studer. Coming up in just a bit, I had an earlier conversation with Tammy Francisco. She is the Community Relations Manager with Mosaic of Western Iowa and covers all of Potawatomi County and beyond in southwest Iowa. And just a wonderful conversation. And I wanted to be able to bring that to you this morning for anyone who hasn't met Tammy, and also what Mosaic of Western Iowa does. It's very, very important what they do in our area. So this is a great interview, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Hope you came through yesterday's storm okay. I was woken up around 5 a.m. with hail. I wasn't expecting hail out of this mess, and the thunderstorm was right over the top of us, and we're getting, when you get the lightning without any thunder, it's right there, and just a big boom that was going on, and then eventually it moved out, turned over to snow, and now we've made it to spring, and we're going to watch all of this snow go away, and to me, can't go away fast enough. I'm ready for spring and to get things going and get things growing and all of that again. So that is very exciting and looking forward to that. Always looking for more guests on the Local Roots Show. And if you know of someone that has a great story to tell, that could be a nonprofit, could be just some folks doing wonderful things in your community, let me know. Send me an email, toddstuder@gmail.com, and we'll reach out and see if we can't make that connection and bring them on the show. That's what this thing is all about here, is telling those stories and highlighting what life is like around Potawatomi County, and how things are going for you as well. So if you have a story to tell, as I said, just send me that email, and I'd love to be able to help you out. It is Tammy Francisco. She's the Community Relations Manager with Mosaic. Tammy, you and I met, I think it's actually been a few years ago now at a chamber event. And since then, I've always looked for you anytime that we go to one of those things, because you're just always so fun and pleasant to talk to. And I know that there's a lot of other folks in the community that feel the same way. So thank you very much for agreeing to come on the show and talking about what Mosaic is doing for the area.
Thank you for having me, Todd. I really appreciate you inviting me on the show. And yes, we did meet back about 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
At the Todd Studer Studios, when you had the chamber opening there.
That's where it was first at. Okay.
Yes,
A previous go round with everything that I was doing.
Yes. And it was exciting then, and it's exciting now. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Let's begin with Mosaic, because for folks that know, they know who you are, but for folks that don't, may not even be aware that you exist. So what is Mosaic, and why is it so important?
Okay, first let me start off with this distinction. We are Mosaic in Western Iowa.
Okay.
So Western Iowa agency goes from Council Bluffs through Logan and up to Denison. And so that is our agency area. And any of the smaller towns in between, those are the people that we serve. So Mosaic is a faith-based organization who serves the needs of persons with intellectual disabilities, mental health concerns, autism, behavioral health concerns. And so we actually have two programs. One of them is the Mosaic at Home program, where we bring our individual served into a family home, and he resides there. And then there's also what we call supportive living or intermediate services, which is a homegrown program right out of Council Bluffs, started right over there on 24th and Avenue L. And those persons live in their own home, and Mosaic comes in and offers additional support as they would need it. So we have the two programs that are steadily growing in the Western Iowa communities.
Is it possible for one of your residents that may be in service and staying with you with Mosaic in Western Iowa be able to graduate out of that and be able to get into their own place? Is that something that you see happen?
That has happened. So what we did was we transitioned our group homes into Mosaic at Home. And so we bring our person servant into the home. Well, it's really a roommate situation, but you are responsible for caring for that person. So a lot of times they and the goal is for them to gain their independence and to have more alone time and to be able to act autonomously. That's not the right word, but to be able to act without you, basically. And so, of course, if they grow to the point where they decide that they no longer want to be in the Mosaic at Home program and they want to live on their own, we actively help them pursue that goal.
This is such an important mission that you are doing, that because listen, we know that there is a homeless community that lives in Council Bluffs and in
Hmm.
Omaha and in this area, and there are certain folks that are part of that they struggle with some of
Hmm.
the issues that you're talking about. So having a program in place to be able to help these folks, because we don't want to see anybody on the street,
Exactly.
and this is a wonderful way to be able to keep that from happening.
Exactly. I get a lot of referrals from the community, and we have what we call a community outreach coordinator. Her name is Michelle Lillard. And so when I get those referrals, I pass them on to her because she's responsible and has the true knack and love to coordinate that effort to get a person who desires to become a part of the Mosaic family. And there's a matching process between the individual served and the families, and then we make sure that that happens. Or should they want to live on their own, we make sure she's responsible for all of that coordination. So it really is a great program. It's a great service, but it's really more than just a service. We love what we do. So I think the love and the care comes across in our methodology of getting our persons in service, but also our hands-on approach while they're in our care.
I would think that a big key to what you're talking about, loving what you do and loving this service, is it has to be genuine.
Oh.
And when you legitimately incorporate that into it, that people can feel that. You know,
Hmm.
that your residents or your clients can feel that, their family members can feel that, and it's very obvious. I mean, when you speak with passion about this, that there is that exists within you as well.
Exactly. I actually prayed for a new position to challenge me, and my prayer was answered. And the Lord said, "Okay, well." And in my prayer, I said, "I'll go anywhere you send me, even if I've never been there before." And the Lord said, "Well, you're going to go to Logan, Iowa." And so I had to look it up on the map. And I want you to know it's been the best work experience that I've had in my adult life. So I really, really love what I do. I love getting out in the community and sharing about Mosaic in Western Iowa, sharing. And I love that you could pick up on my passion because I am very passionate about what I do. So it's awesome.
Where did the path originate from? I mean, you said you ended up in working in Logan, but where were you before that? What brought you to here?
I've always been an advocate for others, always. And so I've had over 20 years of experience advocating for families and their children. And so I was actually working in Omaha Public School District, and I just wanted a different challenge. And so I said a prayer, and this is where God led me. So but I've always been in service of others. I've always been the advocate to make sure that those that um, didn't know how to do something learned how to do something, and hopefully that changed their lives to some degree.
As you've been getting out into the different communities, whether it be some of the smaller communities or right here in Council Bluffs, what's the reception been? How have folks been as you explain what it is that you do?
Their eyes light up. Actually, they get excited because everybody knows somebody who could benefit from being in service with Mosaic. And so a lot of times they are just grateful that that service still is in existence. As you know, Glenwood discontinued their services, and so a lot of the people in the communities, surrounding communities, were wondering what is going to happen with the people that were being served there. And to find out that Mosaic is still serving individuals with intellectual disabilities or different set of needs, they are very grateful that that service is still being provided.
Yeah, it's well, it's not any mystery that across the entire state of Iowa, a lot of these services have been reduced,
Right.
and there was many facilities around the state that are now closed. Not just
Hmm.
Glenwood. I mean,
Hmm.
I can name three others that pop right into my
Okay.
mind that are gone. A lot of the beds to be able to service uh, mental health issues are gone,
Hmm.
and so having an organization like yours is even more critical than it's ever been, because there are some people that truly need some help, and there's if there's nowhere to go, then that's when you see them end up on the street. I've,
Exactly.
I've talked with folks out there that homeless. There was a homeless man several years ago that I talked to that, yeah, He'd been suffering. He had PTSD when after his brother died, and a lot
Mhm.
of things were going on with him, and he had nowhere to go. So that's why
Exactly.
I'm so thrilled that Mosaic in Western Iowa is here and also recognizes just how big this need is.
Exactly. It is it's a huge need in a lot of different communities, and it doesn't matter the size of the community, it's a need. And so we work to fulfill that need. And we have been very, very successful in Western Iowa. We have over 60 homes that are in our Mosaic at Home program, and we serve over, I know, more than 50 persons in our intermediate or supported living program. So we are very grateful that we have the support that we have in the community that we serve. It's been awesome. It's been an awesome experience for me. It's been a life-changing experience for the persons that we serve, but also for me, just getting out in the community and meeting different people, and just hearing their stories and their passion and their love for others has really been beneficial, and it's been a wonderful experience for me personally.
A lot of times too, you talked about Logan. That's a smaller town,
Hmm.
and there's many of these small communities around the state that
Hmm.
people don't think about this kind of thing.
Hmm.
And in some of those smaller towns, it's like, well, it's some idyllic setting, but
Hmm.
they are dealing with all of the exact same issues that any other larger community. It might be less population of it, but still it's the same thing. And that's why, as you said, this entire region that you're servicing, you see that need everywhere that you go.
Exactly. And it's been, my greatest challenge is driving through, coming from, because I actually live in Bennington, Nebraska. So when I
Hmm.
come over to Council Bluffs, I got a straight shot. But any other time that I'm not going to Council Bluffs, it's been a challenge. And the different highways and the byways that we have to do, especially when there's a detour on I-29, it's been a lovely but challenging experience. I get to see a whole lot of Iowa that I didn't realize was there.
Yeah,
And
there's a
so
lot of
it's
roads that you're probably the only one out there.
exactly, exactly. And so it's been really but I've always loved to travel by car. And so it's been really, a highlight for me. But I'm like, oh my gosh, who knew this was back here? And the
Hmm.
farmland and the it's just been a wonderful experience for me personally. Just and it's very calming for me to drive to these different communities. So when I get there, I'm very happy because I'm just, taking a little joyride. So I
No,
enjoy
there's some towns around Southwest Iowa that as you're pulling in, you're like, am I looking at a postcard?
it.
You know, be,
Exactly.
especially with with the Les Hills here. So you're coming down, and it sits maybe down in a valley, and you see the big church steeple, and it's like Norman Rockwell must have been here painting this thing because it
Exactly.
has that look.
Exactly. And those I know I'm not saying it right, but those rocks that are painted, um
Oh, the Freedom Rocks.
Freedom Rocks,
Yeah.
yes. And then to go into different communities and see those rocks, I'm thinking this is just awesome. And it is, and I love history. So then to grow, I went through Dow City one day, and I kept seeing this
Oh, wow.
Dow house. And I went up the hill, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And it's preserved, so well. And it's just been, I have really enjoyed driving through the smaller towns in across Western Iowa, and I really get a kick out of it when I know where I'm going. I'm like, oh, I know, I've been there. I've been to Vail. I've been to Dunlap. I know exactly where I'm going. So early, I'm like, I know exactly where I'm going. So it's exciting for me to
What
travel
do you
through
think
Western
are
Iowa.
some of the biggest challenges that the organization is facing right now?
You know what? This is really some different times. So as a community relations manager, when we have persons who we serve are in need, I get a lot of requests, and so I get the requests from my coworkers, and I look at them, and not only do we want to do provide dreams and hopes and things, but we also this year are getting requests for everyday items, and that's unusual for us. I've gotten requests for daily hygiene products that our person served need, from briefs to uh, toothbrushes to just basic hygiene products. And that's because every person that we serve, they qualify for the Medicaid benefit. And in order to qualify for the Medicaid benefit, that means you're living below the poverty level. And so just because they have moved into a home setting, it doesn't mean that their money's increased. It's the same. So and they are to live independently while they're living with a family, and so they are tasked with providing paying for their and purchasing their own products. And so, but because we are supporting them, we want to make sure that not only do their dreams come true, but their everyday life is as easy on them as possible, as stress free as possible. So the requests that I'm getting this year, they're very, very different than what I've had in years past. We've purchased beds, we've purchased bed frames, box springs, bedding, and that's kind of interesting because you just don't even think about a person not having a bed. So it's been very different this year. It's been challenging. We've
Well, when
also
you're
done some great
yeah.
things as well. We've had in one particular instance, we had one of our persons served go to college, and so we purchased her a laptop so that she can make sure that she was able to stay keep up with her courses. And so we do great things with Mosaic, but the needs have really changed. They've become a lot more basic this season.
Yeah, when eggs are $6 a dozen, and the price of gas fluctuates so high and low that it's
Exactly.
hard to keep track, and it's impossible to budget for some of this stuff and understand. And as you said, fixed income. It's not as if when the grocery prices skyrocketed that they were suddenly getting more, had more
Exactly.
money to be able to spend. So
Hmm.
has to come
Hmm.
from somewhere. And some of those necessities are what falls in there. Is that, do you, as an organization, do you focus on the financial end for donations, or are you set up to take physical, like tangible items?
We take it all. So
Okay.
at Christmas time, we get a lot of gifts, a lot of blankets, a lot of handmade items from a lot of our communities, especially our churches, and we'll give that. They give that to our person served. Every holiday, we get gifts, so tangible items to give to our person served. But my part of my responsibility is fundraising, and we do have an annual fundraiser. But I take donations all throughout the year. And the biggest thing I want to share with everyone, your donation to Mosaic in Western Iowa goes to our individuals served. That is their bucket to use so that we can make sure that their needs and their dreams are met throughout the years or throughout the time that they're in service with Mosaic. So I do have an annual fundraiser over at, and we've been in St. John Lutheran Church in Council Bluffs has been gracious enough to give us their community room, and we have our annual fundraiser. It's coming up actually May 8th over at St. John Lutheran, and it begins at 8 to 9 in the morning. And so if anyone is interested in attending, please contact me. Please contact me so that so we can start our relationship off personally, so that I can get to share with you what it is about Mosaic and Western Iowa that I love. And I want you to come on this journey with me.
I'll tell you what, in the description, wherever you happen to be watching the show right now, in the description, I will put Tammy's email address in there so you can reach out to her, and also the website, mosaicinfo.org, if you'd like to
Mhm.
learn more about this organization and just how important it is for
Right.
our
And you
area.
when you go to the website, make sure you click on the Western Iowa because those are the persons in our community. I also You can reach me by my cell phone. You can add that as well,
Okay.
and so that people can get in touch with me. But I really love to. It is a requirement for me to meet those who want to engage with Mosaic because we want to establish a meaningful relationship from the beginning. And I believe that if you and I start a relationship and we both share the love for Mosaic, that eventually I'm going to fall to the wayside, but your love for Mosaic will continue. So
That's a wonderful philosophy, and I can speak for more than one person that they have put the right person in your position. You are doing wonderful work, and your passion it just comes right out of you. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and also for being a part of this show. I was grateful that we were able to make this connection and get you on here because, as I said, what you're doing is incredibly important, and we need more people to know about it.
thank you, Todd. I thank you for this opportunity to spread the word about Mosaic in Western Iowa. As you know, that's what I do. When you see me, I'm always going to talk about the wonderful work that we do in Mosaic in Western Iowa. So thank you for having me on your show. This is a great opportunity for me. as well as our organization. So thank you.
Well, did you happen to hear the news earlier this week? The Iowa Boys High School Athletic Association made the announcement that the boys state basketball tournament, beginning in 2027, will no longer be in Des Moines. It is going to Ames, and they're going to play at Hilton Coliseum. It didn't say anything about what's going on with the girls. Now, that's a different organization. That's the Girls Union, and I'm assuming they're still going to play in Des Moines. So will they still play on opposite weeks? Will that happen? I'm assuming so, since a lot of times you get the same school playing in both tournaments, and they'll want their fan base there at both of them. So I'm guessing they'll still be on different weeks. But I wonder if maybe the girls' union will eventually move the tournament there as well. Hilton Coliseum is kind of a special place. Like, I'm an Iowa fan. I've been a Hawkeye fan my entire life, but I've also known that Hilton Coliseum, they call it Hilton Magic for a reason. And I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of young men playing high school basketball that are going to get to experience that. So I think it's a good move. And I'm looking forward to that again, not next year, but the following year in 2027. And they're locked in for 5 years, and we'll see whether it continues on, because they've been playing in Des Moines going back into the early 60s. Whether it was Vets or Wells Fargo or wherever. So all of my broadcast experience at the state basketball tournament was done at Vets in the old building, and they used to call it just playing on the floor because it looked like, you could see the floor and then concrete all around it there. And I always thought that was a lot of tradition in that facility. So, a new tradition going to start here in just a couple of years. That's wrapping things up on this Local Roots show for today. Thank you so much. Enjoy the first day of spring. Try to stay dry. I'm sure it's going to be pretty sloppy out there with all of this snow melting. And by the end of next week or middle of next week, we should have everything dry again, and we can actually start putting some things in the ground and getting things growing. How about that? My name is Todd Studer. Have a great Thursday.